Arendelle's history seemed simple on the surface, a thriving kingdom ruled by a royal family beloved by its people. But beneath that peace lay forgotten truths, buried conflicts, and a connection to something far greater than anyone had imagined. The Northuldra, a people deeply intertwined with nature and magic, held answers to questions that had long remained in the dark. When the past finally caught up with the present, everything changed, setting Arendelle on a path it never expected. A kingdom in the shadows of the past. Arendelle had always presented itself as a strong and stable kingdom, known for its prosperity and leadership. But beneath that image was a past that had been quietly forgotten, one that shaped the kingdom more than most people realized. Decades before Elsa and Anna were born, their grandfather, King Runerd, made a decision that would change the course of history. His reign was marked by a deep mistrust of magic, a fear that ultimately led him to betray the Northuldra, a peaceful people who lived in harmony with the elements. At first, Runerd seemed to approach the Northuldra with diplomacy. He offered them a massive dam, claiming it was a gift to strengthen their bond. The Northuldra, known for their deep respect for nature, accepted it, believing it to be a sign of goodwill. But Runerd had no intention of fostering peace. He saw the Northuldra's connection to elemental magic as unpredictable and dangerous. Instead of working to understand it, he sought to weaken them, knowing that controlling their land would give Arendelle more power. What happened next was a turning point. During what should have been a peaceful gathering, Runerd betrayed the Northuldra by attacking their leader. This act of violence sparked a battle between the Northuldra and Arendelle's soldiers. Before either side could gain control, the spirits of the enchanted forest reacted. The elements, earth, fire, water, and wind, became restless, causing chaos that neither side could control. In response, the spirits sealed off the forest, trapping both Northuldra and Arendellian soldiers inside a thick mist that no one could escape. Outside the enchanted forest, the people of Arendelle were left in the dark. The truth about what happened was erased, replaced with a version of history that portrayed Runerd as a hero and the Northuldra as aggressors. Over time, the story of the enchanted forest faded into legend, and Arendelle moved forward without acknowledging the damage that had been done. What remained was a kingdom built on an incomplete past, its future unknowingly tied to the consequences of that single act of betrayal. This history would have remained hidden if not for Elsa and Anna, who would one day uncover the truth, whether they were ready for it or not. Elsa and Anna's discovery of the truth. For years, Arendelle thrived without questioning its past. The events surrounding the enchanted forest had faded into legend, and no one, not even the royal family, truly understood what had happened. But when Elsa began hearing a strange melodic voice calling to her, everything started to change. The voice wasn't just in her head, because it was real, and it was leading her towards something important. Despite not knowing where it would take her, Elsa couldn't ignore it. Arendelle itself seemed to react to the voice, as strange elemental disturbances began affecting the kingdom. The winds howled unpredictably, the fires went out, and the water froze solid. It was clear that something, or someone, was trying to get Elsa's attention. Fearing for the safety of their people, Elsa and Anna set out on a journey to find answers. Accompanied by Kristoff, Olaf, and Sven, the sisters followed the voice north until they arrived at the mist-covered enchanted forest. The fog, once impenetrable, responded to Elsa's presence, parting just enough for them to enter. It was there that they met the Northuldra, a people long thought to be lost to time. The Northuldra were cautious but curious about these outsiders, especially Elsa, whose powers reminded them of the elemental spirits they worshipped. Among them was a woman named Yelana, a respected leader who had spent decades trapped within the forest. She and the others revealed the truth about what had happened all those years ago. They spoke of King Runerd's betrayal, the battle that followed, and how the spirits had sealed them inside as a result. But what shocked Elsa and Anna the most was learning that not all the Arendellian soldiers had died or escaped. Some were still alive, just like the Northuldra, having lived within the forest for decades. Among them was Lieutenant Matthias, a loyal Arendellian who had once served King Runerd. He and his men had spent years believing they were trapped because of a misunderstanding, not knowing the full story of their king's actions. As Elsa and Anna listened, the weight of their grandfather's choices became clear. the peaceful image of Arendelle's history was shattered, and they realized that the kingdom they loved had been built on a past filled with deception. But uncovering the truth was only the beginning. They still had to decide what to do with it, and whether Arendelle was ready to face the consequences of its forgotten past. The Elemental Awakening. Elsa had always known she was different. Her ice powers set her apart, even among her own family. For years, she believed they were a mystery with no clear origin. But after entering the enchanted forest, she realized that her abilities weren't random, as they were tied to something much older and more powerful than she had ever imagined. The Northuldra had long lived in harmony with the elemental spirits of nature: earth, fire, water, and wind. They believed that the world was guided by these forces, and they recognized Elsa's magic as something deeply connected to them. But even they didn't fully understand why she possessed such power. It wasn't until Elsa delved deeper into the enchanted forest that she uncovered the truth that she was not just connected to the elements, but she was the fifth spirit, the bridge between magic and humanity. This revelation wasn't something she could have discovered on her own. The Northuldra's wisdom and history helped her see that her role was not what she thought it was. Instead, it was about restoring balance. The spirits had been angered by the past, responding to the betrayal of trust between Arendelle and the Northuldra. The mist that had trapped the forest for decades was proof of this imbalance. Elsa's presence was the key to setting things right, but she had to embrace the full extent of her abilities to do so. Following the voice that had led her to the forest, Elsa embarked on a dangerous journey deeper into the unknown. The elemental spirits tested her, revealing their power in ways she had never faced before. She tamed Bruni, the mischievous fire spirit, by calming its chaotic flames. Gale, the wind spirit, guided her forward, pushing her toward answers. The earth giants, massive and unstoppable, loomed as reminders of nature's raw force. And the Nock, the water spirit, challenged her in a way nothing else had, forcing her to prove her strength before allowing her to cross into the next stage of her journey. When Elsa finally arrived at Atohallan, the mythical river of memory, the truth awaited her. Her mother, Queen Iduna, had been Northuldra. The magic in Elsa's bloodline wasn't just a gift, it was a legacy passed down from Iduna's connection to the enchanted forest. The voice calling to her had been a part of that legacy all along, leading her to uncover the past so she could bring peace to the present. The realization hit her with a mix of clarity and responsibility. Elsa was not meant to rule Arendelle. Her destiny was something different. She was the guardian of the enchanted forest, the protector of its magic, and the only one who could truly restore harmony between the spirits and the people. But understanding her purpose wasn't enough. The balance had been broken for too long, and fixing it would require sacrifice. With this new understanding, Elsa knew what had to be done, but the cost of setting things right would soon become clearer than she ever expected. Breaking the cycle of the past. The weight of King Runerd's betrayal wasn't something Elsa and Anna could ignore. The truth had been hidden for decades, but now that they knew it, they had to decide what to do with it. Their grandfather had built a legacy on lies, presenting himself as a protector while secretly fearing and destroying what he didn't understand. His actions had left wounds that went far beyond the enchanted forest. They had shaped Arendelle's entire history. Undoing that damage wouldn't be easy, but the sisters knew it was necessary. The most immediate problem was the dam. Elsa now understood that it had never been a gift. It had been a weapon, meant to weaken the Northuldra by disrupting the balance of the river. As long as it stood, the harm Runerd had caused would never fully be undone. Destroying it was the only way to restore harmony, but there was a risk. If the dam was broken, the rushing waters could flood Arendelle. It was a choice between protecting the present and setting things right for the future. Anna, unwilling to let fear dictate their actions like it had for Runerd, took the lead. Trusting that Elsa would find a way to save their kingdom, she tricked the earth giants into smashing the dam. The moment it crumbled, the spirits of the enchanted forest reacted. The mist that had kept them trapped for so long finally disappeared. The forest was free, but Arendelle was now in danger. Elsa, having discovered the full extent of her power in Atohallan, had one last challenge to face. The floodwaters surged toward the kingdom, threatening to wipe it out entirely. But now, she was no longer fighting against her abilities. She had become one with them. Riding the Knock, she raced ahead of the wave and froze the water just in time to save Arendelle. The battle was over, but the consequences of their choices were just beginning to unfold. Elsa and Anna had done more than uncover the truth. They had changed the course of history. The Northuldra were free. The spirits were at peace. The cycle of deception and control that Runyard had set in motion was finally broken. But with that break came a realization. Elsa and Anna's paths were no longer the same. Elsa now understood that she belonged in the enchanted forest, where she could live in harmony with the magic that had always been a part of her. Arendelle didn't need her as queen. It needed Anna, someone who had always fought for her people with courage and determination. In the end, their roles became clear. Elsa chose to stay in the enchanted forest as the guardian of magic, ensuring that the mistakes of the past would never be repeated. Anna, now fully aware of the responsibility she carried, returned to Arendelle and took her place as queen. It wasn't the future they had imagined, but it was the one they had built together, the one that would finally bring peace to both their worlds. A new future for Arendelle and the Northuldra. With the dam destroyed, the enchanted forest was no longer bound by the mist that had trapped its people for decades. The spirits were at peace once more, and the Northuldra were finally free to step into a world that had long forgotten them. For the first time in generations, the connection between Arendelle and the Northuldra was no longer one of secrecy, mistrust, or conflict. It was something new, something that could finally move forward. Anna, now Queen of Arendelle, understood the weight of this moment. Her kingdom had spent years believing a false history, and it was her responsibility to ensure that the truth was not only acknowledged, but honored. Arendelle could no longer be defined by the mistakes of its past. Moving forward meant more than just undoing Runyard's damage, it meant building something better. Elsa, embracing her role as the fifth spirit, remained in the enchanted forest to protect the balance between magic and humanity. She was no longer a ruler in Arendelle, but her connection to the kingdom and to Anna would never fade. Instead, she became a bridge between their two worlds, ensuring that the relationship between Arendelle and the Northuldra remained one of trust and respect. With time, what had once been a fractured past became a shared future. The Northuldra were no longer trapped in isolation, and Arendelle no longer lived in ignorance of the truth. Magic and humanity, once seen as opposing forces, coexisted in harmony, shaping a future where both could thrive. For Arendelle and the Northuldra, the story that had begun with betrayal ended with understanding. The cycle of fear and division had been broken, and in its place stood something stronger, something built on truth, acceptance, and the promise that neither side would ever be forgotten again. And that's how the Northuldra changed Arendelle forever. A past built on deception, a future shaped by truth, and a bond that finally found its balance. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this, check out more videos on the channel. There's plenty more deep dives into your favorite stories waiting for you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss out. See you in the next one.